Ooh-wee, I've chosen a heck of a field to stone clear this week. Hey, this is RHLSTP with James Acaster. It's lovely to see these videos, isn't it? You get to see James Acaster's rod hole face in this one. See how sad he is about the way his life's going. He's just won a massive award in Australia, deservedly so. He's a fantastic comedian. Do check him out if you get a chance. I think he'll be up at the Edinburgh Fringe, one would assume so. If you want to help keep these videos going, please back our Kickstarter. It's going okay, but there's still quite a long way to go and not very long left to go. So go to rhlstp.co.uk/Kickstarter and you can help us fund this series of RHLSTP, and hopefully then we'll be able to film some more. Check out richtone.com/gigs and you can find out if I'm coming on tours anywhere near you. I've got Leeds and Salford in May with a couple of the guys from Emmerdale in Leeds and to be announced, and Sarah Millican and Jimmy Cricket. Come on, in Salford. Not many tickets left for either of those. Let's sit back, relax and enjoy RHLSTP. It's the Rhino's favourite podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who thought his last podcast at the Leicester Square Theatre might be his last one, and you're about to find out why. It's Richard Herring! Thank you very much. Hello! I'm tripping over all over the place. Hello! Welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Oh, you're lovely. Welcome to Richard Herring's long sleeve t-shirt podcast. That's what it is. It's all about... Every guest is going to have a long sleeve t-shirt on, and all we're going to talk about is long sleeve t-shirts. That is the new... I forgot to wear a long sleeve t-shirt, so that's right from the start, so that spoiled it. I was hanging around with the Independent Group. Today it was, actually, and this podcast isn't going to go out for about 2 months, and the people at home probably won't remember what that is. That's my guess. And Mike Gapes, he calls it RHLSTP. I don't know. Chuck Urbano won't call it that. He says he's too cool to call it that. Last week, this is what I'm going to talk about. I'm not sure this is a fit subject for podcasting, but I was going to talk about it last week, but I was scared because before the David Morrissey podcast last week here at the Leicester Square Theatre, and you're much better than last week's audience already, I'm telling you, I went to do a wee just before the podcast started, like seconds to go on stage, and I started doing a wee, and then I noticed there was blood coming out of my penis in the wee, and I thought, fuck, I've got, that's bad, right? That's generally a bad sign. And so I then had to come straight on stage and do the David Morrissey podcast. I thought, shall I talk about the fact that David Morrissey will probably say we should stop the podcast. There's blood, you're bleeding wee. If you watch that podcast or listen to it, do bear in mind all the way through I thought I am about to die, but I'm so professional. I did the podcast. Even though, that could have been the valuable hour that saved me if I'd just got to hospital. I thought, no, the podcast must come first. My children would understand. When I got off stage, I went back to the toilet and I realised I'd somehow nicked my foreskin and the blood had just seeped down. I mean, I'm 51 years old and I got to the point where I can cut my penis and not notice. That is how... So that was something of a relief. But I am very old. I don't know, you probably passed outside. There's a Prince Charles Cinema next door, which is a great cinema. It shows loads of fantastic cult films. They have an offer on that is £10 membership a year or £50 for lifetime membership. And I look at that and go, well, I'm not sure. Not sure what the better value is there. I don't want to be caught out. Anyway, so... Got nothing for next week's podcast for the opening. That's all the stand-up. Luckily, I've got a new prop. We might save that for next week. So, my guest this week is best known for being William Strawberry, the drummer of the Capri Sun Quartet. That is why we are here, hoping he'll do a bit of drumming for us. We'll see if he'll play some of those old hits. Ladies and gentlemen, it's James Acaster! Thank you very much. Welcome back. Sit down. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I bought a water and there's
water, but
here.
you know, you might need... Sometimes it's a two-water show, this one.
Already getting it wrong. What a laugh.
He's wearing a long-sleeve T-shirt. That's the good news. That's the good news for the new RHLSTP.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. Well done.
What a bunch of nerds.
They're all here to see you for some reason. So, I don't know if we talked about your music career very much in the past. Maybe we have. I don't know. You've been on this once before, and you did their very good Edinburgh Fringe podcast in 2017, I think. So it's a couple of years since we've seen you. Yeah. What was the what kind of music was the Capri Sun?
Capri Sun Quartet was folk funk, and I was the drummer, Sir William Strawberry.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Beg your pardon.
Our names were. So we took our middle names as our first name and a flavour of Capri Sun as the surname.
Okay.
So I was William Strawberry.
I didn't know they did a strawberry crack.
Yeah, they did. We were big into them at the time.
Oh, really?
So we knew all the flavours. Jacqueline Orange was the singer. Wild Jane Berry was the keyboard player. And Ross Current was the bassist. It was my friend Graham was Ross Current. And he changed it to Ross... So we also had T-shirts on. So it was plain white T-shirts that we had written on and drawn like pictures of strawberries and written Sir William. And we all wrote our names across our T-shirt. And he had written Ross Current, but then had written event underneath it. So he's a current event. And I was like, I don't understand that at all. And he was like, it's punk. Ross Current event. And then he wrote here, this just in. He's still one of my best friends. I love him. I don't understand that though. I still don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a punk group, as you said.
No, but like, he probably didn't say it was punk, but either way, Ross Current Event was the name that he wanted to go by because he thought Ross Current on its own didn't sound cool enough.
It's better, I think.
Better.
Ross Current.
Ross Current.
And
then we became the Capri Sun Quintet, and I didn't actually like that.
No, I can imagine.
Added a Sarah Tropical.
So we were both pooing backstage at the same time.
We were.
Yeah.
I gave you permission to talk about that. I said you can.
But it's interesting because we'd had a conversation backstage, and you can watch backstage interviews if you become a badger or a dripster, and you get access to the backstage interviews. We talked about the fact that the toilet in there is like a bit too close to the room.
Yeah, it's like if that was the toilet.
Yeah,
that's the room.
It's a very small
Just
dressing
right
room, and
there.
the toilet's right there, and you feel if you're pooing in there, that's a bit rude to the person who might be in the actual dressing room. Did you know I was going to leave the room, or did you?
Yeah. So what happened was
you went in.
I went in to sort my braces out.
Okay, yeah.
I'm 34 years old.
Yeah.
And I went to sort out my braces.
Yeah.
And then I came out and you'd gone, and I thought this has played into my hands very nicely. Went back in and did a shit, and then when I came out, you came back and you just, you know, as most people would, you just announced, "I've just done a poo." And I said, I've just done a poo as well. We were probably pooing at the same time.
We probably were.
And then, through a laugh, I went, we can talk about that during the interview if you like. And I thought he probably won't bring that up.
I haven't got that much to talk to you about because we've done it before, so I thought let's talk about
I've
that.
only lived so much of a life. Why not play on the things that just happened?
I was in a different toilet. I wasn't pooing in the dressing room.
We're back to back. Come on.
You can find out what happened with me trying to wee in the same room as Peter Lord if you look at those backstage interviews as well.
I already know.
Yeah. So, lots has been going on for you. Let's talk about hypothetical, first of all. This is an amazing idea for some... So you're just like, somehow you come up with questions that are like weird...
Yeah.
And then you ask them to people and see what they
Yeah.
say. It's a
Yeah.
really good idea. Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that idea? How did you come up with that crazy idea?
Well, it's something we've all been doing our whole lives, right? So it's just a lazy format, really.
It is.
For anyone who's done it at any point, it's a lazy format. Anyone who claims to have invented it, I would say, is a madman.
How's it? What kind of things do you do in there? What kind of questions do you ask on the
The
show?
ones in that book.
Yeah.
Work our way through that. My character on it is called Hitchard Redding.
There's 2 more books there. If you want to get those books as well,
Yeah, I will
I can
get
send
through
some
them.
out the back. I've got a cash machine.
I say you have to stop the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
How do you do it? And the only catch is that you're a cat. That's one of the ones we asked.
Well, I mean, it depends, doesn't it? It depends on what
Oh,
you as a cat.
I forgot I was asking the master.
It depends what the cat believes.
Yes.
Who the perpetrator has. The cat travelled back
So
in time,
you
so
think-
knows the.
So you think you've turned into a just a random cat, and you now possess the cat's emotions and political agenda and thoughts, and it's not you in the body of a cat.
Yeah.
You think I've now taken on everything about this cat,
Yeah.
but I still know that I have to stop the JFK assassination.
But do you know what happened in the JFK? So you're a time
Yes.
travelling cat.
I think the way it's up to interpretation. I think you still got your own mind. You know that JFK gets assassinated and you want to stop it, and
Yeah.
you've got a human mind, but you're in a cat's body. But if you interpret it as you become a cat, and everything that comes with that,
Yeah.
in terms of comprehension and everything, and you have to stop it, then by all means attempt to answer the question. But yeah.
But even if the cat is aware of future events, the cat doesn't know whether the fatal shot came from the grassy knoll or the book depository.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, this is why we chose that
Yeah.
of all the events.
So
is that
I
you've
think
really got to.
I think what I would do, I would get a ball of. I'd go in a couple of days early.
Yeah.
I would get a ball of wool.
Are you at Dealey Plaza at this point? Or are you-
I'm in the book depository.
Okay, yeah.
First of all, I would just get that. I'd put it all in the window that I know
Or the
Lee
wall.
Harvaz. Yeah, so I'd just tangle it up in the window. So Lee
Yeah.
Harvaz gets there, gets
Yes.
his gun ready, and I goes, fuck, and then he's he'll try and poke it through.
Yeah.
But that's he's not going to be able to see a thing.
Not too accurate.
So he
is it?
can't
Yeah.
shoot.
That's good.
So that's that one done.
Number one, utilise your skills as a cat
Yeah.
and bring wool in.
Yeah. And
It's very good.
on the other one, I would go on the grassy knoll and I'd let out a big cat pheromone fart.
Oh yeah.
All the randy cats. I'd be a female cat.
Yeah.
All the randy cats,
I'll let you
and
choose
also
that.
a lot of angry dogs
Oh yeah.
would rush the grassy knoll, and anyone attempting to shoot would be taken.
You're not
out.
getting your job done then if there's loads of randy animals having some sorted fart orgy. Yeah, I think that would work.
Okay,
Richard.
cool, thanks.
You've used both.
Not think about just getting me on as a panelist.
Too old.
Okay. That's fine. What's the oldest person who's been on Hypothetical?
I don't know. Hirsha. I don't know. Who is the oldest person who's been on it? It might be someone like maybe John Richardson's the oldest.
Wow, he's not even really
Imagine.
old. He's young to me.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We're getting older. More people seem young the older you get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Insightful.
Thank you. Talking of other things I'm not invited on, you're on Taskmaster. Just the new team of Taskmaster was announced today. I saw
It
Dave
was,
tweet.
yeah.
You know, tomorrow you're going to find out the whole. Fingers crossed. It's
You thought it might
gonna
be you. They
it
haven't
might
told
be
you yet. Yeah. It could be.
Just tweet me. Go turn
That'd
up.
be good
tomorrow.
if that's how it works.
Yeah.
If not even the people doing it knew until they tweeted, oh, I'm doing Taskmaster, this might be a task right now.
It'd be good because then they'd have to go, shit, I've got to do it. Or,
Yeah.
no, I'm not particularly interested in taking... Why didn't you think of asking me before you announced it?
Would you still block it out in your diary? Just
Yeah, I
in
do,
case?
just in
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
Well,
Every
it's
year.
very empty. I've actually been fired from the one job I had this year, so that it wasn't self-generated. So, you know, it's fine. I'm available for work. Not on a Monday night, though. Those Mondays all gone. I think you're sort of the perfect Taskmaster contestant.
Oh,
Do you
thank
not
you.
think so?
Yes.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you agree. But
Very.
you're the right level of pedantic and
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair enough. As charged.
yeah, and you know
And
I think you've got
stupid.
that kind of mind, that lateral thinking.
Yeah, but also, you know, I'm not good enough at that stuff to ace it. So, you know, I found that on day one of doing the tasks, they get you in a house and you do like, you know, about 5 tasks in a day, and, you know, they get you back another time. And so I do about 5 tasks, and on day one I'd nailed 1, and 2 I'd absolutely like just screwed so badly, and they'd gone awfully. So like by the end of the day 1, I kind of knew what the lay of the land was and how
Yeah.
well I was going to do or not do throughout the whole series. So going into the studio, because you're in the studio at the end, when you've done all the tasks, you go all in the studio together, and people were sitting there, all 5 of us, and they're like, "Oh, let's see how we've done." And me and Phil Wang were like, "We know how we've done. We're fine. We don't need to find any of this out."
Phil Wang was extraordinary in so many ways in that series.
He was amazing. What was really great, I did the group task with him as well.
Yeah.
And that was right at the end. So we'd done all of our tasks on our own, and then it was group task day. And Phil, if you haven't seen it, for the whole series, Phil wears a onesie that is based on Bruce Lee's Game of Death outfit, and you can just clearly see his cock and balls for the whole series. It's very, very clear and
Yes.
pronounced. And me and Rod Gilbert were on a team with him, and we turned up on the team task day, and as soon as we met, you know, bumped into Phil, we were like, "Have you been wearing that the whole time?" And he was like, "Yeah," and we're like, "Dude, like, it's amazing that you've done that. That's like really, I mean, what, are they going to pixelate it?" And he was a bit unsure as to what we were referring to. Well, you can see your dick. And then he was much more... All day he was kind of a bit more self-conscious. We're like, "Oh, dude, you honestly didn't know about this? We thought that was the joke." It's like, "No, I thought it was a cool outfit." Wow. But, you know, it's great. I mean, he was so funny.
Yes.
I felt very lucky to be on it with the 4 people I was on with.
It was a great lineup, not like the rubbish they got this time.
Sure.
So, Tad, both of the fuckers on this. 250 quid each. Oh, that'll grease a few wheels. They have an old one on that one as well. They have one old one.
Yeah. Oh, especially if you watch this next series, one of the tasks is grease a wheel. I'd be so angry.
So let's see what else we could do. There's a lot to talk about. You're also doing... Let's talk about your food-based podcast, Off Menu.
Off Menu,
with Ed
yeah.
Gamble. Yeah. Some fans in of this.
Thank you very much.
It's
yeah.
quite a new podcast. You've done about 12 episodes as we go to
I think
air.
that,
So
yeah.
Coming
It's
out
been
weekly.
great. I've really enjoyed it, and I didn't expect anyone to listen to it, and it's nice that they have. Yeah. Me and Ed just talk about food all the time anyway, and so I think we just talked about like doing a podcast about food for a while, and then eventually we just realised that a lot of the time the way we think about food is like building our dream meals and what's the best start you've ever had, what's the best main. And so we thought we'd just do that with guests. And it's amazing, how many people quite enjoy talking about that as well.
Yeah, it is interesting because you start thinking it through and working out what you would go for. I won't tell you now, James, just in case.
Yeah.
Weirdly, though, the main course I did think of, which is weird because it comes, and it's good if you've got like a story around it. But my favourite main course I ever had was lobster and mashed potato, which I had on a holiday in Barbados on the beach. I had it every single day of that holiday.
Yeah.
And it was generally the nicest lobster I ever had. It was just a delicious meal. in the middle of the worst holiday I've ever had.
That affects it.
Yeah, but why I'm going back to that? I went with a girl that was crazy.
Yeah.
We'd been going out for a while. A couple of months before we broke up, she told me she believed that the Holocaust had happened as punishment for the Jews killing Jesus. Somehow the relationship continued after that.
What I love about
After
that
that.
whole story you just told is that at one point you said I was going out with a girl who was crazy, and everyone in the audience went, back off here, Richard. And then you said that, and then everyone went, crazy's a little bit light. You went easy on her there, when you called her crazy.
yeah.
She said, I do sound like...
And as it transpired, the day before, we had this holiday and we'd had a big argument the day before we went on holiday. As it transpired, she'd been with her ex-boyfriend the night before we went on holiday, and he'd proposed to her. She was spending the holiday thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Be in your mind, get in your head.
ringing him up from the phone in Barbados.
Yeah.
And this is how I cracked this case. She rang him. She was ringing him. I was paying the phone bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was the holiday that during the holiday I went paddling in the sea, got knocked over by a wave, hit my head, and one of my testicles swelled to 4 times its size. On the plane journey home, it acted like an altimeter. I could tell what height we were based on how much my testicle hurt.
Did you show her your swollen
I did show her, yeah. So
what I love about that is that while she was looking at that swollen testicle, she definitely would have been thinking about the proposal she just
And got home, sort of didn't... We broke up the minute we got home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then Al Murray, funnily enough, who you both parties said, oh, did you hear about her getting proposed to? I said no. And then I went through the phone call, all the phone numbers that had rung from the hotel, and rang them all and found out that most of them were to
him.
I said, hello, who's that? He goes, it's Simon. Yeah, okay, bye. Yeah. And so...
He was eating a lobster.
That was
got 5 minutes.
That was pretty bad. But the lobster and... the lobster and mashed potato was really nice.
That was delicious.
It was really nice.
Often, food that sticks with you because it was such an awful time.
Yeah.
It was the little sunshine through the clouds for a bit for you.
And
it was this lobster and mashed potato.
To make it even worse, the chef who cooked that lobster and mashed potato for me died in a road accident about 3 years later. So
did he actually?
Yeah, he did. So it's like a... It's a terrible...
We'll be in touch, Richard.
It's a terrible cursed meal.
Do a good uplifted episode.
But I'll always remember that lobster and mashed potato. And what better way?
Always remember the lobster and the mashed potato.
Better way to remember him. That's what my main course would be if you want to know any of the others.
Yeah.
You're going to have to book me.
Blood-curdling stories go with the other courses that you've got. Watch the body count rise as the podcast progresses.
Oh, dear. And it's very good, anyway. It's a very good podcast. You've
Thank
got
you.
Excellent guests.
Thank you so much.
I was listening, but then on my dog walk this morning, I did mention this backstage. I was listening to your Fubar Radio podcast from a few years ago, which was a really good idea, and you've told me that it's nothing's going to happen with it. It's not like Desert Island Discs in random form, in that you get someone's iPod and you shuffle it, and then that's the music in the radio show, the shuffled iPod.
Yeah, we talk about what comes up on shuffle. You can't try and look cool. And we just talk about what... And a lot of the time, if they did it properly and did shuffle it, we got really good chats out of it because it's a spontaneous reaction, and they would have something to say on everything. But if they cheated, you could always tell.
Lembit Opik.
I don't know if Lembit Opik cheated because he's so off the wall anyway that it was impossible to... I didn't know what way was up by the end of that. That was the
first one. That was your opening episode of that.
Yeah, I was in at the deep end immediately.
It's an hour long. I listened to it on my dog walk this morning, and I was left sickened by Lembit Opik.
Yeah, well,
And-
I'd have to listen to it again and refresh my memory properly. But I remember the producer who used to book the show on a weekly basis apologised to me for that booking.
I mean, what's sickening about him is he thought it was going great and he thought he was lovely. Go, oh, lovely, charming Lemba Opik.
Yeah.
You had 2 female callers on the show with doing the same thing, shuffling their
Yep.
iPod. Both of them he sort of hit on really crudely, like really unpleasantly.
Yeah.
He was clearly lying about every single thing he said. And,
Absolute lying.
and doing the Lemba Opik, I'll do the funnies, that which you've... he mentioned the gig I saw him at, which was
Right.
he did a gig in a little club round the corner from here where he tried to be a stand-up comedian for a week.
Yes, he did.
And he said, yeah, I was brilliant. He was not brilliant. A guy heckled him and he said, hey, I'll do the funnies. I went, mate, you're Lemba Opik. I'm like, hey, comedians get heckled, but B, you're Lemba Opik. You're not, you can't stand there and go, I'll do the funnies.
Also, you've got to be doing the funnies at the
You've got
time
to be doing some funny.
to justify that response.
You do.
If someone's going, you're fucking shit, mate. It
Yeah.
hey, I'll do the funnies, thank you.
It was, in a
Under
way,
mind already.
it was like being in the psychiatrist's chair for me. That for him, you know,
Yeah,
that
sure.
interview, because you just sort of got a real insight to this guy who's
Oh.
obsessed with himself.
Yeah.
He's lying all the time because he goes,
Yeah.
what are they called? Tweet in if you know to @Lembit Opik,
Yeah.
and then 2 seconds later he's googling something else on his phone. You go, why don't you
It's
just
all over
Google
the
it?
shop. It'd be a good podcast, actually, if it was like Lemba Opik and a psychiatrist or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And every episode, because he would say yes to that, because he would think, oh, I've nothing to hide, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And then a psychiatrist would be going, I'm going to be famous by the end of this. 'Cause this is... And every episode is just breaking him down more and more and just peeling back the
And he was
layers.
doing the same thing to you. You're on a podcast with James Acaster, admittedly in 2014, when you're not that big a deal, but you're still been nominated for the award a couple of times. by
Yeah,
then.
yeah, sure, yeah.
You know, you're a pretty funny guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He was trying to top you. He was trying to mock you for the.
Yeah.
He clearly got his iPod. He said at the beginning, "Oh, there's an issue with my iPod. There's an issue with my iPod, so I
Yeah.
bought in this other."
I've got this other device that could only store 5 songs, and we'll put that on shuffle. Oh, the Beatles again.
But then because he was really proud that Natalie and Bruglia had come up, going, "Yeah, see, I'm cool."
Oh, yeah. Well, no, it wasn't Natalie Imbruglia, because Natalie Imbruglia, I would have given that to him and been like, yeah, that is cool, actually. It was something else. He went, tune, I'm cool. And it was like, dude, you're not cool for playing this. And then there was Steptoe and Son at one point,
Yeah.
which I just think was a calculated... It was him going, oh, they won't believe me. You know,
Yeah.
I have to have something embarrassing come up, so I'll put the theme tune to Steptoe and Son, which is... So it's not too embarrassing, is it? Like...
And he had a story about how
And he had a whole
brilliantly funny he
story
was.
about it.
He said, "I must have taken that off YouTube." He said,
Yeah, but it's
"Lying man, listen to it. It's the most amazing interview."
Imagine going on a podcast about songs and lying. Oh, I better lie. So you know you're not a trustworthy guy.
And my during listening to that podcast, my dog's paw, which had a wound, the wound opened up again, and so I was walking a dog with a bleeding paw as well. That spoilt my enjoyment as well.
During that, did you happen to have a nice side dish that you want to talk about?
I blame you. So you're the connection. Do you recognise this review and you know who said this review of you?
There we go.
He's not for everyone,
Yeah.
but he works hard.
It's my dad. It's my dad.
It's your dad's.
Very pleased with himself. He didn't mean it as a cheeky thing. He meant that at face value. And it went viral. And then he became a Twitter moment.
Yeah.
And I saw him the day after because, I visited my family the day after, and all day he was on his phone updating me on, I've got this many followers now, I've got this many followers. It was quite excited, actually. And I think he still has quite a few of those followers.
Yeah.
And I was quite worried when he got all those followers because I thought, you know, anyone would be if their parents suddenly got a huge amount of followers on Twitter. But he's done well, actually.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good with his tweets. There's been nothing that's made me go, oh my God. So yeah, I kind of think he may be cut out for this game.
If he becomes a celebrity, then you can tour the world with him, do a show.
do a travel log show and I mean that's inevitable at some point, isn't it?
It
You're
is.
travelling with a parent.
Good. It's nice. You do work hard. You do work hard.
Do work hard, but
You do
not
work
for
hard. I'll
everyone.
give you that much.
Not for everyone, but he works hard. You know who that describes? Every comedian. But apparently I'm standalone.
So, look, your stand-up, I mean, it's gone crazy, hasn't it? Even since last time I spoke to you, the Netflix stuff, all of the shows, the quadrilogy of shows has gone up, and more to come, I think, aren't there?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Hopefully there'll be more to come. Yeah, those 4 have gone up, and yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Hand on heart. really
We
chuffed
talk
with it.
about 2017 being a bad year in your personal life.
Yes.
You did get 4
Yes.
Netflix specials.
I addressed that in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Professional life in 2017 was very good. Personally, I was falling apart. But yeah, those specials, I'm so proud of them. But when we were filming them, I was literally... So we filmed all 4 of them in a day. And then we filmed all 4 of them again the next day for safety. And the first day... So we had half an hour in between each one. A bit longer, I think, between the second and third one. But I'd go on, do the show, and then, because of my own personal stuff I was going for at the time, I'd go on, do the show, and then come off, and then just sit there like that in the wings. They get changed, and then come on again. And that was like the whole day. So like, yeah, it was a bit of a... It was a weird time, just for me in general. I was doing the most exciting thing I'd done professionally, but also was thinking, after these, I'm going to quit. Right. And that was how I got through. Like, the only reason I did them and could do them and deliver them well is because I was thinking, you're going to quit after this, so it's okay.
Wow.
Like, you don't have to keep doing this afterwards. So you do this now, and this is a last hurrah, and it'll be fun, and then you can quit. And then there's probably something in the back of my mind even further going, you won't quit. And so I had that extra comfort in the subconscious being like, you're not going to quit, it's all right. But just keep telling yourself you're going to quit, because otherwise you're going to cry on stage. So, like, that kind of got me.
So you'd broken up with your girlfriend.
But my girlfriend didn't take it very well. Started having suicidal thoughts. And then I was having... During the time when I was doing filming those specials, I was just having quite a turbulent time with my agent. He hadn't dropped me yet. But he did drop me after that.
Right.
But like at that point we were going through quite we were not getting on, and I was very stressed out, and I'm sure he was as well. But
that's an odd decision for him to drop you at the stage where you've just done 4 Netflix specials.
So imagine how much of an arsehole I was. Obviously, my story is that I'm not, but who cares?
It's a shame. If they'd been filming that could have been like an art project. If they'd filmed the backstage as well, so you could have had the and then just you coming up, just half an hour of you looking suicidal in a room,
just staring,
before having to then work you. I'd quite like to see that.
Yeah,
as a Netflix special. Just having to psych yourself. I'm not saying anything. Just psyching yourself up internally to go back and do the next one,
go out
and then fade out. You're coming out.
Yeah.
Be good.
Yeah, luckily, but I wouldn't be the comic that... If I was going to watch that, I'd want to watch a comedian who on stage is more like, ha-ha! Because obviously I'm going on deadpan, and then you come off and just look like that, and everyone's like, well, it's pretty much the same. I'd want to watch somebody who's on, I'd want to watch Michael McIntyre, be like... And then come off and be like, I fucking wish I were dead. I can't... Then you can really see the difference there.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, there might be we might have just accidentally pitched a new series here, I think. Just a different comedian each time. Let's see what they're like off stage.
And it's just the backstage bits.
And they're not, they don't know they're being filmed, I think would have to be part of it.
Oh, that's part of it. Okay.
And then
this is a hidden camera show. This isn't scripted. This is a hidden camera show.
And they don't know it's going out either. You don't get permission from them to put it out. The first they hear about it.
Yeah. And we're not pranking them. We're just rolling and seeing what happens. Is that right?
Yeah.
Great stuff. I mean, it would be quite a varied... Most of them would be boring, but I bet we'd catch a few. There'd be some real...
There'd be some exciting stuff, I think, and a lot of boring stuff.
There's some breaking stories, though, let's face it. So,
I love the one, I think it's the first one. Don't worry, they all begin with R.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones that begins with R.
Yeah.
The Torv Lindeen.
Oh, the first one, yeah.
Yeah. It's just... was that genuinely in Edinburgh to try and fit into the hour slot, or was it just a joke?
No, it was just a joke. So, I just did it... I just wanted... I think my friend told me that fact that... when they did the Bolero, they started kneeling down because they discovered that the stopwatch only started when you got on your feet. And the song they were going to skate to was too long. So they did the first bit on their knees, and then they got up, and it's this loophole. And so my friend told me that, and at the time, I just wanted to write a show that I enjoyed. And so I decided, I'm going to start on my knees. I'm going to do that, and I'll make it about that. And in the long term, a big regret, that routine, really, because I never at any point wore knee pads or anything like that. And you're previewing it, you're doing Edinburgh, I did New Zealand with it, and Melbourne, I did a tour with it, and then toured it all again in preparation for the Netflix specials. And I remember the last week of that tour, it was in the Soho Theatre, and I was just and there was just lightning bolts of pain while I was doing the kneeling down. I just felt these like sharp stabs of pain through my knees, going, well, it's too late to have a knee pad now. You've done it now. You might as well get to the end of it.
Wow.
But yeah,
So how are your knees now?
I think they're all right. They're still quite red, but that might be knees, isn't it? I hope that's just knees.
It depends how much kneeling you're doing, I think, in your day-to-day life. I think if you don't kneel much, they're not that red.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think the knees are naturally sort of russet. I think they become red
Oh, really? Through
friction.
Maybe I've kept it up more than I thought. Been kneeling quite a bit. Can't really kick the habit every now and again. I need a quick kneel.
Well, they're well worth watching. It's amazing to have... I mean, and what's amazing about Netflix now, and we were talking about this backstage, early in the history of Netflix, there was someone at Netflix who really loved me, and I got 4 of my specials on... my stand-up shows on... I won't call them specials, but they were 4 just average stand-up shows from me, which to another comedian would be very special. And they kept on emailing and said, oh, people love it here. And then it was before Netflix was a thing. And like, as you were saying backstage, in America, it was sort of viewed as a joke a little bit. People were laughing at it. And he emailed me, said, have you got any other ideas, anything you'd like to, because we've got a bit of money, we're trying stuff out. And I kind of gave it to my agent, and it's only Netflix. But what's nice for you, James, having arrived at the right end of the Netflix, is... Yeah. This is shown all over the world. So you're touring to America quite soon, right? You've been there once.
Yeah,
and you're going
end of March I go on a short little American tour. Yeah. And
so it's viable now to tour the world, really, because of and like loads of comedians are finding this. There's a lot of comedians now on Netflix, and
I absolutely love it. Also, because of we talk about it on the food podcast a lot, but obviously, I like trying food in different countries. So mainly, because I think if your main if when you go abroad and work somewhere, your main goal is I'm going to be huge, I'm going to be a star, you're only going to be disappointed and it's going to kick the shit out of you. But if I'm going, I want to eat some food when I'm there, and there's this place I want to go to and this place, I just have a much nicer time.
Yeah.
And I can eat some nice food and then, go and do a gig and feel like, I don't think they're going to get me here, and then eat some more food and it's all right. So, that's mainly what I'm going to be doing.
That's good. But maybe it was the last time you were there, you've been on the James Corden show out there and Conan out there?
Yeah.
And so is that just doing the stand-up section, or were you
just doing the stand-up sections? No one's wanting to hear interviews with me in America at the moment. That's absolutely insane. But I've done the stand-up sections there. I'd say, you can watch them on YouTube, and it's 2 very different reactions. The James Corden audience have been amped up within an inch of their lives. I think it's fair to say they're properly They don't know what's going on, but if you leave a pause, they're going to applaud it. And so there's a lot of me kind of doing a setup, getting an applause for the setup, and then going, fair enough. Just telling them, yeah, okay, fair play, guys. There's a lot of that in that one. But then in the... I think I talked about it during the Edinburgh podcast, but in the Conan one, it's just me trying not to shit myself because I had food poisoning. But... That's right. Well, the audience don't really laugh at me.
Did you meet Diane Keaton and Andy Garcia on
I passed them in the corridor, and I had to just not engage. No one told me that, but I knew that if I said anything to Diane Keaton, I would just go on about Annie Hall, and then I would ruin everything for myself, because I'd literally... I know exactly how it would have played out. I would have seen her and go, I love you in Annie Hall. Annie Hall's such a good movie. Obviously, I don't watch it now, because, it's Woody Allen. And then it would have... Then everything would have... Oh, sorry. He's probably a friend of yours. I don't know where you stand on the whole thing. And Andy Garcia, I know what I would have said. I would have asked him. I would have said, "Hey, I saw the film Passengers with it's Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt in it. It's not a very good film, but right at the end, there's like a different crew.
Yeah.
And you're the captain of that crew. And you don't have a line. You just look in the room and then you walk away. What's going on there? Were you just on set doing another thing and they went, Andy, this will be funny, come in. Or did you go in specially for that? Because I can't remember. Either way, you're either really cool and you were just knocking around and did it, or you're more desperate than you need to be for Andy Garcia. Like you shouldn't have left the house for that. I hope you didn't. Also, that is a bad film. It's a bad film that could have been brilliant, and it annoys me. The films that annoy me the most are the ones that could have been amazing, and then they miss the mark, and then they make something that's... I don't care if it's complete shit. I'm kind of not as wound up. Whereas Passengers... Have you seen... I don't know if
I've seen Passengers. Michael Sheen's in it.
Michael Sheen's in it.
From the Stone Clearing podcast.
Yeah. He's very good. He's a robot in it. But the thing about it is that they're all, like, asleep on a ship in, like, some sort of hibernation, and they're on their way to this utopian planet, and they're all going to wake up when they get there. But then something goes wrong, and one of them wakes up early, and it's Chris Pratt, and he's on his own on this big ship, and he's lonely, and he's falling in love with another woman who's asleep, and he wants her to be with him, so he wakes her up, but doesn't tell her he's woken up. It makes her think it was a mistake as well. And then she falls in love with him, and then he has sex with her, and then later on she discovers that he had actually done this, and because they're both going to die now as well. They can't make the planet. So they're now both... So he's killed her, and I don't want to bring tones down too much, but he's essentially raped her. So it's horrible. Really, really dark. Yeah. But they don't play it off as dark. It's just like, oh, you did that to me, and now I've fallen out with you. And, and she goes off, and she's not talking to him anymore. And he's feeling bad about it. And I just kind of feel that really, you can still do that film where one of them wakes up, he's on his own, and he's going crazy, he's on his own, and then he wakes her up because he needs company, and then he falls in love with her, and then she discovers it, and she's like, get away from me, and then he should turn crazy at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a demented madman who's got her on this ship, because he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
It should be the bad guy from then on, and the villain that she's got to defeat, but instead they just they make up at the end.
Well, what
the fuck is that?
It turns out the ship would have been destroyed because whatever the thing that. So he's sort of.
I don't know if
the film justifies his action in hindsight by saying, "Oh, if he hadn't raped you and tried to murder you, essentially, you would have died anyway." So he is.
We all die anyway.
He's good. He is good. So you can.
Regardless of what anyone has done to you in your life, you were going to die anyway.
But I agree. It's like it starts off and you think it might go that way, and that's the way it definitely should have gone. I bet
should have gone that way.
I bet in the first script it went that way. And someone's going, "Oh, we can't have Chris Pratt being a murderer."
Yeah. Well, how I don't cast Chris Pratt then? I like him as much as the next person. Well, actually, not. He's going a bit nuts now, isn't he? Going full on Crizzo. Really weirdly Christian. I mean, fair enough.
You're right, though. It is
many Christians that are like my parents are Christians, but I'm just saying he's really he's started to unravel a little bit.
I was unaware of that aspect of his.
But in a way, in that kind of way that you don't trust with celebrities now, you kind of think something.
That'll happen to you. You're going to America. You're going to come back from America a different person.
Come back a Christian?
Yeah.
It's quite suit me though. I was raised Christian anyway. Yeah. I've still got all the...
You know all the stuff already.
I know all the words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think I could...
What point did you lose your faith?
During a dessert I had at school. Mid-20s.
Mid-20s?
Gradually throughout my 20s. So I'd say my late teens... I started to doubt it.
Right.
And then
that's quite late, James.
Yeah, it's quite late.
I mean, some people stay believing it, or the Pope, for example.
Yeah.
All his life he's
All his
believed it.
life.
So you're better than him.
Better than yeah. It's still quite late. Like, but I wanted to. But I think I just wanted everything to make sense and be good. And in my late teens, I started thinking, oh, maybe this isn't all true. But then I did like a last ditch kind of like, let's just really convince ourselves.
Yeah.
And really went into like, I think I had this book. I can't even remember what it was called now. It was
The Bible?
by a guy. Ringing a bell, actually. It's by a guy called Ravi Zacharias.
Okay.
It was all like, might as well have been called Trust Me, It's True. And I read that, and that reassured me for a while. And then just gradually I was like, maybe I don't believe in this bit of it, and maybe I don't believe in this bit. And eventually it was like, I don't believe in this stuff. And just had to accept that I didn't anymore.
Yeah.
But it was quite gradual. I didn't want to let go of it.
Had you had sexual intercourse before this point?
Yeah. Although I didn't lose my virginity until I was 21.
Right.
And it was probably partly to do with that stuff. I wasn't holding out for marriage, but I was holding out for being in love.
Sure.
So I was like, not until I'm in love. And I really held out. And then the first person I was in love with, slept with her. And then a week later, she was back with her ex-boyfriend. So, I was like, there is no God. And then that started the rest of it.
That was God testing you.
Yeah.
My ex-boyfriend, that was Jesus.
Oh, it was Jesus.
He was testing you.
Jesus.
He was testing you by sleeping with your girlfriend.
Makes sense. That explains the holes in his hands and various things that he always made me touch. Called me a doubter.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no.
And were you doing comedy at that? How old were you when you started doing stand-up?
23.
Okay.
Started doing stand-up. I don't actually. Probably when I was 21, 22, I did my first gig, but I wasn't going to be a comedian.
Were you a virgin when you did your first stand-up gig?
Good question.
Thank you.
No, but only by.
3 minutes.
Either by a year or by a month. I'm not sure because it depends what year I did. If I was 21 or 22, but yeah. But yeah, I only had sex with one person when I did my first stand-up gig. I've never thought about that before. In that context.
I find it hard to imagine you. I tried to imagine it today.
Me having sex?
Yeah, I find it hard to imagine. I tried really hard to imagine it.
It's very hard to imagine.
I just couldn't imagine it.
Everyone I've had sex with just goes, I never would have imagined this.
I mean, it's true of most
Surreal.
people, really, when you think about it. Most people, it's sort of weird thinking that...
I can imagine you having sex.
Can you imagine it? It's like this.
Imagine that bit of hair you've got kind of just goes in front of your face. Yeah. Hunched over, yeah.
That's what it is.
It's anger in your face. Just constantly, even though you're having sex with that person, you're constantly bringing up people who wouldn't have sex with you in the past. I'll tell you who else won't have sex with me. We're having sex. Can you appreciate this, please?
Very much when it's like... dear. What a world. Let's ask you some hypothetical questions. Oh, actually, I've got some in the back of here. I want to ask you... the first one is one I wanted to ask based on my interview with John Ronson, if anyone was here for that one or has heard it at home. Which was John Ronson in his podcast. He talks about people... who get tailor-made pornography, right, for their particular fetish. They pay porn actors to act stuff out, but that's not commercially or available anywhere else.
So if you do want to imagine me having sex...
I could pay someone to put on a James Acaster mask.
If the money's right, mate, I'll do it.
I want you to look at the camera while you're saying it, go, Rich, this is for you. As you do, Rich,
yeah.
it's for you.
It's what I say anyway when I'm having sex. That's absolutely fine. Just before the moment of climax every time. Shout out, Rich, this is for you. And have to explain who Rich is afterwards. Richard Herring, you know?
You say that, but now there's going to be a tiny part of your brain that will have to be thinking every time.
Oh, yeah. If I'm lucky enough to ever do the dance again, that phrase will pop into my head at some point.
Okay, good. Is there anything you would like to have made for you specially by porn stars, or or do you think it would be funny too if you haven't got a fetish you want to?
Yeah,
submit
if it'd
to?
be funny.
I'd say I've never really. I've been really understood fetishes, or never. I mean, I understand them, but I don't think I've got one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I understand them, but I was on holiday with a bunch of people recently, and one of them could not get a... She was like... she was saying they were quite posh. And she was like going, I don't understand. Some people do it up the arse. And we're like, yeah. She was like, I mean... can you imagine? And we're like, yeah, that's... fairly route one. That's not like a
that's
route two, but it's but that's entry level.
It's three. Yeah, it's the third entry level. Third level of entry.
It is the third level of entry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
But yes, it's something that I think.
But I was as surprised at her being surprised that people having anal sex as she was about people having anal sex.
Wait till she has anal sex, then she's going to be surprised.
I believe I'm doing this. I understand fetishes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have an unusual one that isn't catered for in pornography? So
Isn't catered.
I mean, you'd think everything's catered for. You
would think so. To have one that's not catered for in pornography. I mean, and this is no judgment to anyone, but like, I would probably start to get concerned about myself. If I googled something pornographic and it came up with no results. Well, okay,
that could be Dave Gorman's next show. Google the Google wank.
Right, send that to Taskmaster.
There's no pornography of people being wanked off by ventriloquist dummies. That's all I know.
Is there none?
None of that. I imagine. that has not been made. So I'd definitely make that. After the James Acaster looking...
Combine the two.
Now I'm going to... the joke's on me. I'm going to think about you looking at me next time I'm having sex.
This is for you, Rich.
I'm going to be thinking of you looking at me.
And one of us is in a relationship, so that's happening soon.
But we've got 2 kids, so it could be a while. Right, another new emergency question. What is the weirdest reason you ever skived off school? Did you ever skive off school as a good Christian lad in Kettering?
Yes, I think good Christian boy, so I didn't really, but once I did, so it's only once ever.
Okay.
And that was... but it was for like quite a wholesome, nice reason. So it's not really. So at lunchtime, I was in sixth form. I did 1 year of sixth form before stopping, and I just hadn't enjoyed that morning. Didn't like it. My friend Wayne, who had already left school, he turned up at lunchtime, and was like, "What you up to?" He was like, "Nothing. I don't think I'm going to go back for the second half." He went, "Well, why don't you just hang out with me?" I was like, "What we're going to do?" He said, "I thought I'd go for a walk in the countryside." I was like, all right. So we went for a walk, just in the country, just remarking on how nice and beautiful nature was. And just like, I thought I used the word deep too many times as a teenager about myself. It's like, I'm really deep, actually. And it would be because I could look at a tree and go, look at that beautiful tree. Wayne, don't you think that tree is beautiful? We're both talking about it. There's no girls here. And I'm still telling you that I think the tree's beautiful. Aren't I a deep person? And then I remember we bought a packet of custard creams on that walk. So we went through a village called Grafton Underwood, which is where I think Bridget Jones's diary is. Or Bridget Jones is from there in the book. It was near my house. And we went to Grafton Underwood, went to the post office, bought some custard creams, and we sat on a bench and we shared them. And there was a crane. As in a crane, as in one of those, not the bird, it's a crane. And we saw it, and we went, "Oh, imagine stealing that crane and spending all day just picking people up for a laugh." And then we really laughed for ages while eating these custard creams on a bench, imagining just some people walking along and then just whoop. Really thought that was funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then, I got home quite late and my mum was like, where have you been? I was like, school. As if I was saying, me and Wayne went for a walk in the countryside and ate some custard creams, and she'd go, you're grounded.
But you wouldn't have remembered whatever was on that afternoon at school, would you? Can you remember that?
No, I wouldn't have remembered it. I'd already decided that I wasn't going to do the second year of sixth
So,
form.
I mean, in a way, that was quite a big skive.
Yeah, my dad had made the deal with
year
me.
of school.
My dad had said, because I didn't want to stay on sixth form at all. I wanted to just immediately be in bands and be William Strawberry and whatever. And my dad was like, do 1 year of sixth form, and if by the end you want to quit, then fine. But if by the end you want to do the second, and he thought, well, he'll just do when he's done 1 year, he'll do the second year because you might as well.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I literally went, held up my end a bit, Dad. And he was like, oh, well done. You are more determined than I thought. So I just quit, and then joined the Capri Sun Quartet and other bands. But so I already knew by that point I'm not staying on. I'm not going to do the whole thing, so I thought I might as well skive. So I only skived when I knew it was no consequence to me whatsoever.
That's interesting. So the music was quite a serious idea for you.
Well, everything at that point. So because I did think I was deep. I thought about dying all the time. It's one of those kids, and I was like, I'm gonna die one day. No point living in life doing stuff I don't want to do. I was like, I want to be in a band, so I'm just going to do it. So it wasn't even like a serious career thing. Yeah. It was just like, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. And plan A all the way. And then when I was 22, I was like, I need a plan B because this band's failed. And I had no qualifications. I was like, I started doing stand-up. But until then it was...
A lot of stand-ups want to be in bands. I mean, a lot of stand-ups love music and want to be in bands.
Sure.
It does, and a few of them start off in bands and then go into stand-up.
Yeah.
I think stand-up's way better than being in a band.
I think it's better now.
Yeah.
Although I'm a bigger fan of music.
Right.
That's because I probably can't sit around watching stand-ups all the time. I'm doing stand-up all the time. I'd go insane if I was doing it and watching it constantly. So I relax by listening to music, and I love being a fan of music. But in terms of actually doing the thing, I way prefer stand-up. Oh my God! I'm doing another kind of podcast thing at the minute. I'm writing a book about music and speaking to a lot of bands, and they're bands I really admire that have done amazing albums. But I can't envy any of them. It's tough.
Yeah, and when you're a washed-up musician, you can't just get younger musicians in and sing a song at them. You have to.
Some of them do
a job.
Tom Jones had a.
I suppose he did. Yeah.
Second wave, didn't he?
He did. That's true. I'm not going to ask the question I was thinking of. If you only had a week to live, and I know you're obsessed with death, who would you tell to go fuck themselves?
Oh, nice. My year 7 form tutor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, believe me, hated her.
Right.
I'd find her and tell her to go fuck herself, and I'd say that... Because I know that she still works as a teacher, and I'd say that it's a disgrace that she's still in the profession, and she should be utterly ashamed of herself. Bullying 11-year-old kids.
Yeah.
I'd say that to her.
Well, it's so interesting because one of my other new questions is, what's the worst thing a teacher ever said to you at school? And it sounds like it may be something that lady said to you.
You think you're it.
Oh, really?
She said to me, you think you're it. It's like an episode of The Office or something, like getting told off by David Brent. You think you're it, mate. I've got news for you. You're not. I mean, I'm 11 in this story.
Yeah.
11 years old. And guess what I'd done? At one point, I'd breathed quite loudly during the spelling test.
Right.
And she thought it was me going, easy spellings. So sent me out.
Right.
And come out like, you think you're it. And it was literally, there was a bit, I remember during the thing back and forth, me and her, me going, Miss, can you ask my dad? I've got a heart murmur. I breathe heavy. It was bad. There was a kid in the class called Barry who was actually naughty. He would swing on 2 legs on his chair, and he had a metal ruler, and he'd just smack it off the side of his desk and take chunks out of it.
Right.
Didn't go near him.
Yeah.
Let Barry do what he wanted. Get the hell out of this classroom. I'll see you outside.
It's interesting though, from a teacher, this happens a lot, I think, with teachers, and you're stuck in that job. I'm not trying to defend her. I mean, maybe I am a little bit, I don't know. But I'm just thinking that you see these kids full of hope and life and
Yeah.
having fun.
Yes.
And if you're a certain personality, probably the kind of personality who shouldn't be a teacher,
Yeah.
then you take out. I remember my friend Phil Fry we all messed. I mean, I messed around till all the way through school.
Yeah.
But my friend Phil Fry was always full of joie de vivre and messed about. And Mr. Habgood said, "One day, Philip Fry, you're going to wake up and no one's going to find you funny anymore." And that says more about Mr. Habgood, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because he's saying that day came to Mr. Habgood.
Yeah.
And it came pretty early for Mr. Habgood. I think it may
Yeah.
have been the first day he woke up.
No more.
After his
No one
first
found him
episode.
funny anymore.
Yeah, and I still find Phil Fry funny. So,
Yeah.
so
Also,
Mr. Habgood's wrong so far.
so what you're saying is,
It's weird though to be that mean, but then it must be you're sort of as a teacher, and I'd have been a teacher if I wasn't doing this. I think that's what all the rest
Yeah.
of my family do.
if
must
you were a
feel
teacher,
trapped in it.
If you were a teacher, Rich, do you
Yeah.
think you would be looking at the young kids having fun and be bitter about them?
No.
And, tell them that they want to be funny one day.
Perhaps. No, I don't think I would. I like children. It's when they're
Yeah.
grown-ups.
Yeah.
My daughter messes around all the time, and I can't. I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
I'm meant to say now that's not funny.
Yeah.
But if I do it, I'm laughing.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, I wish so often, so it's not a good film, but The Butterfly Effect, I keep on referencing bad films,
Yeah.
but Butterfly Effect has a bit in it where Ashton Kutcher has gone back in time, but here's himself as a child. And there's the guy, I've forgotten his name, Eric Stoltz, I think. He was nearly Marty McFly. But
Oh, yes,
so he is like an abusive father in it, and it's going to basically take some awful pictures of these kids. And Ashton Kutcher's one of them, and he basically now has the mind of an adult man.
Right.
So he takes him down because he has the maturity to be like, "Hey, mate, this isn't cool." And the guy's like, "Ah, I can't handle it."
Yeah.
And so often, I wish that as a kid, I had those moments where Miss Hearn could have... Oh, that's her name. Miss Hearn could have come into that room and gone, "You think you're it?" I'll go, "I'm 11, miss. You're 23 years old, and you're essentially bullying me because I'm the little sensitive kid in class. You don't dare have a go at that bigger kid. You should be utterly ashamed of yourself and quit teaching. Are we fucking done here?" I would have loved it, but I can't do it.
Maybe you can do it.
I could probably still go back now. It was have less. If I just interrupted a lesson.
You could go back in,
Yes, we've
enroll
done
as
it.
a child,
Yeah.
just go in deep, go undercover,
Yeah, as a kid.
spend about 6 months pretending you're a child.
Yeah, breathe
So I'm
heavy.
very tall, miss. She won't remember you from
Yeah,
before. She might think you're your son or something.
Yeah. It's
the
not
back
like
of her
my
mind.
face is anywhere now.
You have to disguise.
She won't have seen me in years.
You have to just disguise yourself a bit and maybe walk on your knees. Oh, that'd be a
Yeah, I
problem.
should walk on my knees. Yeah.
It's going to add exacerbate.
All that training though pays off finally.
And then you can just then when she comes, you're 6 months in.
Yeah.
But you might just find you're enjoying school.
Yeah, I might be
You might like it this time
paying
round.
attention
Actually,
this time, man. It's
I'm
quite
gonna
good, actually.
Stay in this.
Yeah.
Gonna see this through. Do my sixth form.
I'd wanna
See what happens.
Absolutely rip her apart. What a horrible woman. Just horrible. It wasn't just that thing. There was loads of things. I got detention because Joe Devlin turned around and looked at me. Detention. I didn't even know it happened. I was writing and then I heard, "Joe and James, you've got detention." So I looked up. And I told him not to look at you again. It's like, what? Okay, fair play if you want to give him one. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, just sitting here doing my work. And plus, like, I'd not got in trouble at all in primary school. Like, very good kid. So suddenly, year 7, first year of secondary school, and getting detentions and being a little Christian boy.
Yeah.
Like, that was upsetting.
Sure.
Oh, man. I
can
think
see,
about
I can
her
tell it's,
way too often still. Like,
Something seems to have stayed with you a little bit.
it was quite a question to ask me, actually.
Yeah. But do you think she's spotted? Maybe she's just spotted you as the little stool pigeon, the weakest person, so she can make an example of you, so the others all behave. And she knows you're not going to misbehave.
Well, I heard someone had told, because my dad's a teacher, so he gets inside goss. And someone had said that the year before was her first year of teaching,
Right.
and they'd run rings around her.
Yeah.
So it was like, right, second year, I'm going to take someone out or become everyone's bitch. Or I'll take out him,
Yeah.
who looks like he's on the verge of an emotional breakdown anyway. Probably he's a good one to go for.
Yeah.
And then went for someone she knew was just going to take the beating. Ugh.
But did you ever take part in taking down one of those weak teachers yourself? You know, maybe there's some karma in that. There was definitely
No.
teachers that I made their life like
This is the
hell.
thing. It's like I didn't like. There was one teacher, Mr. White, who we had in our first year, science teacher, and everyone just didn't do what he said, and it was insane. It was like Lord of the Flies, and like I think once and very out of character, like I pushed a chair over because like I basically got in trouble for something that someone else had done, and again it was kind of that thing of like it was echoes of Miss Hearn because he went. Someone else had done something. He turned around and went, "Okay, James," because he knew I would. Yeah, if he told me to get out, I would.
Yeah.
So James, get out. I was like, I'm tired of this shit. And pushed a stool over as I walked out. And he was like, that's not like you. I was like, oh, really? But that fucking was it? Earlier on? What I'm in trouble for? Think it through, White. Join the dots.
Yeah.
But, that's the naughtiest thing I remember doing.
Yeah.
But, like, I was obsessed with being good. Obsessed with it.
So unfair.
But to the point where actually 2017's breakdown was mainly due to that. Mainly due to me, like, I've got to get everything right, and then not being able to keep on top of that anymore. So, you know, maybe Miss Hearn was trying to do me a favour early doors.
Well,
Just get in trouble, it's not so bad. I was like, it is
I
bad,
think
it
there's a
feels
sort
awful.
of element where maybe adults are trying to, you know, move you on to a next level by, you know what I mean? By... It doesn't... I mean, you know, I'm stretching a little
I
bit
think
here.
they're Mr. Miyagi or something. And
Yeah.
at the end they'll be like, oh, it was all part of this. Like, no, it wasn't. You just wanted your fence painted. Just looking back and trying to make sense of it. You're lucky that they turned into some karate moves. You're as fluky as I am that worked out for both of us.
But we're lucky, like we do a job that we basically like most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just sort of think that's, you know, I had a doctor who just like seemed really grumpy about, you know, you coming in with,
Oh, sure.
you know, illnesses.
Yeah, they get annoyed with that.
Yeah. You kind of go, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
You came in with 2 or 3. They go, no, you know, you can't
Yeah.
come in with 3.
So we're
Come in
comedians.
with 2. I can't do 3.
We're neurotic as comics.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're more, you know, we're regulars. So
Yeah.
when they see us going, not you again, you are not ill. They get annoyed at it. But like,
do.
if Miss Hearn was ever in a gig, I'd probably... But like, one of my old school teachers came to see me once at a gig, and it was someone I really liked, and,
Yeah.
and she absolutely ruined the show. It was heartbreaking. It was in Cambridge at the Cambridge Junction.
Oh, yeah.
And she was able to sit on the front row and put her feet on the stage like that. So I came out, and someone else had their feet on, so I thought, right, I'm going to have to deal with this early doors. And you kind of see the feet first, so you go up the body,
Yeah.
and then at the end, it's your teacher's face, who's taught you for 7 years. And I kind of saw her, and she was looking at me. And bear in mind, it's a teacher I've always got on with, but she was looking at me, and her face basically just said, what the fuck are you going to do about that? It's like, oh, Jesus. So I kind of like referenced, oh, my old teacher's here. And then for the whole show, her and her friends were just hammered. And just like would get up every now and again and go to the toilet. Hold on a second, James, I'm going to the toilet. I'm just doing that and walking around and shouting to each other. And go, who wants something for the bar? Like from the door. And I was there trying to get... It was the kneeling down show as well.
Yeah.
So at one point there was a bit where I was knelt down and they were stood up and they were higher than me. Just and all this. And then afterwards, I was still on Facebook back then, and I had a DM from her, a Facebook message, going, that was great. Do you want to meet up for a drink? We're in the bar across the road. And I was like, oh, well, we've had to go home. Lie. We've had to go home, can't stay for a drink. And she was like, fair enough, great show. Oh, the people next to us had a go at us after, said that we ruined the show. But you fucking squares. And I went, you did ruin the show. Which feels really good to say that to an old school teacher who's like always had like authority over you. Yeah, you did ruin it. But because though that's the power balance is that she's normally. So she was went, no, I didn't. And like, okay, well, yeah, yes, you did, but whatever. She went, I didn't. Everyone's being too uptight, and you yourself included. We're having a laugh. It's a comedy show. I was like, okay. And normally I'd let that go. If it's a normal member of the audience tweeting me or something, you just let it go. But you're like, for some reason, cannot like. So I went, go on Twitter. You've got Twitter? Go on Twitter. Search my name on it. See what everyone's saying about the gig right now. She searched it, and everyone's just saying utterly appalling behaviour from his ex-teacher or company. She went, they're a bunch of squares. You've got a bunch of squares in your audience, and everyone just needs to loosen up. And it went on for days. It was days of her just going, you're wrong. Well, she's sober at this point. You're wrong. I didn't ruin the gig. And me going, miss, please could you just respect the fact that I am now a professional comedian and maybe I know a bit more than you do what constitutes ruining a comedy gig. She's like, no, you're wrong. And eventually I had to send her a newspaper review of the gig. That just said in great detail how much she ruined the night for everybody who was there. And then she conceded because a journalist wrote it. No, maybe you're right. I did ruin a night for you. But then she still went, I'll still come and see you again. Please don't. You've already ruined my memories of being taught by you in school. You don't need to come again.
Oh, dear.
Maybe she's coming. I don't know. She might be here tonight. But like, she's not like...
She's behaving herself if she is.
Yeah.
I think she might have come and seen Ray Peacock's podcast. Oh, look, it's been lovely to see you again. I think, oh dear, we've gone on for ages.
Oh, but it was so much fun.
It's been lovely. It's lovely. You must come back again. Maybe you could bring Ed Gamble with you and we could talk about food and stuff.
Yeah, it's a trick. I know a trick when I hear
you
one.
come in.
Potatoes or bread?
I'll just talk about that. Yeah.
You know that?
I think I'd go for bread.
Yeah. Most people do go for bread, but I can't reveal what my choice would be. I have to stay partial. As a genie, I have to
You
be
are a
partial.
genie waiter. It's a fantastic podcast. The book, which we haven't mentioned this time, which we talked about on the Edinburgh Fringe podcast, is I noticed my quote for that is front and centre on his.
It is on the
website. Very good quote I gave.
It's a great quote.
It's almost as good as the book. It's a very, very funny book, and I'm sure you're going to go from strength to strength. Do check out the Netflix specials and the live show. Is it touring the UK again, or is it?
Torn it from end of May onwards.
Okay,
I am.
cool.
Yeah.
Great. Well, you must see that. It's all about. It's more really about you rather than.
Yeah, this is a all real life true story show. So it's been fun.
Yeah,
been fun
good.
doing a different thing.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up the amazing James Acaster! How'd you like them sky potatoes?
No, I'm fine. No, thank you. Yeah,